Hi, once again, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yesterday, we saw how to create charts of account theoretically, where we just kind of describe the concepts and the words that we'll be using for those that are still new, especially in the accounting world or in the finance world. But like I always say, this is not to scare you. Anyone can kind of understand these things. That's why I decided to go right to the basics. So today is a practical session. And to start with, you have to ensure that you are interacting with the right entity. In our case, it's entity 600, which is BirMai D365. That's the name of our entity. So now to create a chart of account, you have to navigate to the general ledger. We saw what the general ledger is, where I said it's like a focal point or a central point where everything financial circulates. So you navigate to the general ledger, click on it, and then I'll always recommend you collapse all so that you can be able to see, you can be able to like go right beyond. For now, you can see our charts of account. You can see accounts, main accounts, charts of account. If you click chart, so you can't navigate to main accounts as of now. So we are at our charts of account, and the charts of account is a shared form, which means once you create a chart of account, it can be used by any other entity if they wish. And it also means we can rather not decide to create a new one. We can take a new one and assign to ourselves. How to assign it, you use the ledger form. But for now, that's very high level information. When it's time for us to assign, I will let you know. So let's ride on. The first thing to do is click new. When you click new, you have to give your chart of accounts name. So I'll put COA, which is chart of account. This is something you kind of get quite really often. And then slide, I'll just put our entity name, which is 300, 600 to give it an identity. Here, then you can write charts of account. And for this one, it's like when you want to mask a structure, like put a range through which these accounts will fall within. For now, we won't get into that. Let's forge ahead. So now click new. When I click new, so this is where we start creating the various main accounts. And as you can remember yesterday, I mentioned that we are going to classify the accounts between, in this category, assets, liabilities, expenses, and incomes. So we'll start with assets, and the first asset account we are going to create, I will give a number. So our assets will range from 100,000 to 100,999. Our liabilities will range from 200,000, 200,999. That means every liability within that number should fall within that range. And then our expenses from 300,000 to 300,999, and that follows suit with our revenues. So I will start with 100,000 and call this cap locks. I'll put cap locks and call this assets. And then write down here, this is the main account type. The main account type will determine if it's, or the behavior of the account. It will determine if it's a credit or if these are debited. So, and we have several main account types. We have revenues, expenses, balance sheet, assets, liabilities, equity, total, reporting, and common. We will be using these things. In some interviews, they will ask you that you should what are main account types and can you name some of them? So here are the main account types. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. So they all have their uses. I'll pick up our assets. No, not as of now. So we'll be taking reporting as of now. And then reporting type, we are going to take header. And then main account category. The main account category assets, as we know, we have long. Short-term assets are assets that are easily convertible to cash, and long-term assets are assets that are not easily convertible to cash. They call short-term assets liquid assets. So down here, you can decide to classify the type of assets that you are, and right click, get here, you see cash. I can just say short-term assets by taking new, and let me just follow the numbering. Short-term assets or current assets, it doesn't matter. So this error is just telling us, I'll just put, yeah, it's okay. I'll call this short-term. Oops. Short-term. Short, you have term assets. Could just copy this and as well put here. And then I'll save it. This is just like a warning. Then I'll go back. If I want to, if these assets are going to be short-term assets, then I will just search for short-term assets here, and then, but that is not what we want now. I'm just explaining so you understand. About these other options, I will explain them a little bit later. Let's just focus on creating our charts of account as of now. So that is it. Then you save it. And then the next, you create the next one. The next one is going to be 1, 1. And this one now we can call it cash account. And this is an asset. If there was any, and if you look the behavior down here, the moment I put asset, is automatically a debit here, right? Then just save it. And then the next one. So we are creating assets, the assets that will be used by the organization. Remember, assets are those things that are owned by the company. Those are our assets. So I'll call this bank. No, sorry, I'll put 0002. And I'll put this bank account, select asset, and save it. So we can just use these two assets as of now. And then the next thing, I'll click new again. Now I'm creating liabilities. So liabilities start from 200,000. So I'll put 200,000, and I'll call these liabilities in cap locks. And come down here and select reporting. And down here, I'll select header. This header will explain when we are done with the creation of these accounts. That's it for now. Then I will take 201. I think is, and then I will say loan account, and I will put liability. You see, it's a credit. All liabilities are credited. Then go ahead as well. 200,003. Oh, sorry, and 2. We could call this long-term debt. Long-term debt account. This is a liability as well. You see, credit. and then I save it. Next, we'll create our expenses. So 300,000 represent all, which means all our expenses will fall within this range, 300,000. And then I'll call this Cablocks expenses. Down here, I'll take expenses. No, not expenses yet. I will take reporting, and then I will take header. Save it. Then our first expense is salary. So select expense. You see it's debited. All expenses are debited and all incomes are credited in accounting. Moving ahead, we have 302. I'll call this rent account, and expense, save, and we're done with all expenses. Remember, I'm just creating two accounts. There are going to be thousands of these accounts, and there are several ways you can create it by using either the Excel add-on, or where you upload the accounts, or you use data management framework to upload the accounts into the system, which is more of what is used, but I'm just showing you how to manually create them. So the next one is the incomes account or revenue. So it's 400,000. I'll call this incomes in cap locks, and I will select this to be reporting, heading or header, save it, and then 4,401, no, not that, 401. We call this dividends account. Dividend is an income. So revenue, you see all revenues are credited. Save, and then pick new. The next one is 402. I'll call this interest received account, and this is revenue. Save it. So we have created our various accounts, our various main accounts. Remember, we're just creating main accounts. The next thing I will want us to create is, let's click new again, and then we'll call this, come down here and pick total. Then up here, I'll give a range here. Or let's first click totals. Let's put totals in cap locks. I'll just put assets total here, and I'll put a range, or not a range, I'll put 19999. Yep. And then I'll come up here to click that totals. If you notice, that was graded out initially. So when it comes, I'll then pick up the values from here, assets, and here 999, save it, make sure you save it, go back, cancel this, and then click new again, take 29999, and I'll say liabilities total, or total liabilities, which one works for you is fine. Then here I will pick up totals, come up here and take liabilities here, make sure that this is this, save, go back and click new, expenses. So this expense, cap locks expense total, and I pick total, come up here, select. You can still write it or select it. Expenses and 9999. Let me explain. This bracket or this range it just means that all the expenses that we'll be creating will fall within this range, which means we can create an expense that is 300,000 and 50, 300,000, 100, just like that. But up to this point, this is where the range ends. So it's some sort of elasticity within this range, but after this is not more stretchable. Let me click again. We have our revenues account. I'll call it revenue or income. Anyone is fine. Total. And now we take total here, come up here. Now I can still put 400,000 here and put 4999. Save it. So there is that as of now. Now I will go back. If I go back now, and you can see, if you look keenly, this is what we have created. This is our charts of accounts that we have created. Let me just refresh it from here. Okay. So if you look critically, the reporting, the type is reporting, and this is like, it indicates that 100 is all assets are from 100 to 100,999, and it's just indicating that it ends here. That's why it's just like a heading and a total. Same here for liabilities, heading, totals, liabilities, expenses, just the same. If you look, you see that it's quite really organized now, and more assets can be added. We can create as many as possible, but they should not fall above this range. The system will allow it, but there is a way to mask it. If you want to mask it, you can then put like a range here that it doesn't fall above it, maybe 400, which means if you try to create assets above 400, let me see, assets above 400. Now I've put 400, I'll mask it to 400. Let's go back and click new. But this won't work because I'm putting 400. We already have 400. Let me go back. Let's not put 400. Let's put 500 rather. 500,000. And then let me go back. Oops, sorry. Charts of account. Let's select our own charts of account. Here is it down here. And here is the mask. I'll come here now and try to create 5,001. Call it shares or equity, and then try to save it. You see, it won't create because we've masked it. We've specified in the system or indicated in the system that if any account is to be created above this, then it shouldn't work. The main account does not match the main account mask, you see. So I'm just going to remove this. That was just a demonstration as to what, I'll take this one. That was just a demonstration as to what that means. Let's go back. And this is basically our charts of account. And like I mentioned, there is another way you can do this using the Excel add-up. So this one, you can just, if you look up here, you'll see open in Excel. So I'll click that, and it's probably going to take some time. So once I click that, it's going to bring download something like an Excel template. From that template, then we can still publish it back, just that we have limitations with this particular environment as of now, so we can't really enjoy that. There are two aspects. You either do that through this Excel or through data management framework, where you import and export data through entities. There is something for another day. We can go into that for now. Even the Excel importation now, or the Excel add-up, is something that I'm not sure we can cover that in this particular video. So in our subsequent videos, I will possibly do that, show you how that is done. As of now, there is our charts of account, and that is how to manually create charts of account in D365. In my next video, I'll be explaining some options within the main account form, what they mean, so that you have an understanding. As of now, your Dynamics guy. Bye-bye.